She said, "My ex is staying the night. You can crash on the couch." I nodded. Good idea. While they slept, I cleared out my belongings. In the morning, they woke up with goodbye notes stuck on their heads. Either too male, thought my 3-year relationship with Clara 30 had that, especially this last year we've lived together in my apartment. But lately the foundation had been cracking, vague texts, distant behavior. I notice when the load-bearing walls of a relationship start to groan. The catastrophic failure came on a Wednesday. She walked in, avoiding my eyes. "Hey," she said, artificially bright. "So you know Marcus?" Of course, I knew Marcus, 31. The ghost of boyfriend past, the one she swore was just a good friend. His name popped up on her phone far too often. "Yeah, I know Marcus," I said. "Well, his apartment has this insane pipe burst. Total disaster. He has nowhere to go." She put on a performance of wringing her hands. "I told him he could crash here for a night or two." I stayed silent, letting the audacity settle. She was asking to bring her ex-boyfriend into my home. Okay, where is he going to sleep? Relief flickered across her face. She thought she'd won. "Well, this is the awkward part," she said with a nervous laugh. "I was thinking, to make it less weird for him, he could just take our bed." The blood in my veins turned to ice water. Every emotion, humiliation, heartbreak, was flash-frozen, leaving a cold, crystalline clarity. She was demoting me in my own home. "And where would I sleep?" I asked, already knowing the answer. She gestured to the living room. "You can crash on the couch, right? It'll be fine." I looked at her and saw a complete stranger, the breathtaking entitlement. I wasn't her partner, I was convenient infrastructure. A slow smile spread across my face. "Yeah," I nodded. "That's a good idea." "Oh, thank God. I knew you'd understand," she said, relieved. "He'll be here in an hour." Marcus arrived with the smug confidence of a man who knows he's won. "Hey man, thanks for this," he said with a curt nod. "No problem," I replied. "Make yourself at home." I watched them for 10 minutes, then stood up. "Well, I'm exhausted. Turning in early." I grabbed my pillow and a blanket from the bedroom, set up my new sleeping arrangement on the couch, and lay down to listen. It didn't take long. The low conversation, the feigned yawns, the bedroom door clicking shut. Then the faint, unmistakable creak of the bed frame. The hurt was secondary to focus. The blueprints in my mind were no longer for a building. They were for a clean, precise demolition. I waited until 2 a.m., then I moved. Every action was planned and silent. First, my work laptop, hard drives, and documents went into my messenger bag. A week's worth of clothes went into a duffel. Next, the sentimental assets. In the living room sat the Nexus, a swirling steel and wood sculpture I had commissioned for $3,000. My design, my concept, my money. Clara loved telling people we had it made. It was a status symbol for her, a monument to a life for me. I carefully lifted it, wrapped it in a moving blanket, and carried it out. Then, the financial severance. Sitting in the hallway, I logged into my banking app. Clara was an authorized user on my credit card, a privilege she'd been abusing for months. I navigated to the card management screen. Deactivate card? Yes. Done. I went through the shared subscriptions, streaming, meal kits, all on my accounts. Log out all devices, change password. Done. Finally, the communique. I took out 2 sticky notes and wrote the same 4 words on each. "Now it's all yours." I crept back into the bedroom. The moonlight illuminated them, tangled together in my sheets. My hand was steady. I pressed the first note to Marcus's forehead. He didn't stir. I moved to the other side and placed the second note on Clara's. A final invoice. After 3 trips to my car, I was gone. By 4 a.m., I was at an all-night diner with a black coffee, emailing my landlord. Subject: Notice to vacate, Unit 7B. Dear Mr. Henderson, please accept this email as my official 30-day notice to vacate. My lease will be terminated as of date 30 days from now. The final month's rent has been paid. Thank you. Sincerely, Leo Sterling. I hit send. The first domino had fallen. Update 1. The first 48 hours in my long-stay hotel room were blissfully silent. Then, on Friday morning, my phone erupted. The texts from Clara started as confused. "Where are you?" Then quickly escalated to entitled and accusatory. "Are you seriously giving me the silent treatment because Marcus stayed over? You're being childish." I ignored it all. The real fireworks began Saturday after her credit card was declined at the grocery store. "Leo, this is my food money. You can't just cut me off." It was so embarrassing. "You better fix this right now." I saved the screenshots and archived the conversation. Her embarrassment was a consequence of her own design. Next, her sister Sasha called from an unknown number. "You absolute coward," she screeched. "You abandoned my sister. She's a wreck. You got all insecure because her friend needed a place to stay, and you threw a tantrum and ran away like a child, and you cut off her card. How is she supposed to live?" The narrative was set. I was the villain. The blatant disrespect of being kicked out of my own bed was conveniently omitted. "She has a job, Sasha," I said calmly. "That barely covers her gas," Sasha shrieked. "You can't just pull the rug out from under her." "I'm not having this conversation with you," I said. "She made her choices. Goodbye." I hung up and blocked her number. The climax of the week arrived Monday, in the form of the official notice to vacate from the landlord. My phone vibrated like a trapped hornet with a flurry of texts. "I just got a letter from the landlord." "What did you do?" "Leo, you can't kick me out. I live here. This is my home. It's illegal." I knew I needed to send one final clear message. "Clara, as I am the sole tenant on the lease, I have given my legal 30-day notice. The lease terminates at 11:59 p.m. on date. You will need to vacate by that time. Any items left behind will be considered abandoned, as per the lease. This is not a negotiation. This is my final communication on the matter." I sent it, then blocked her number and all her social media profiles. But entitled people don't accept consequences. They retaliate. I discovered her next move this morning. I do freelance architectural renderings on the side, a business that relies on my online portfolio and reviews. When I logged on, my rating had plummeted. 4 new 1-star reviews had been posted over the weekend from anonymous profiles. Took my money and ran. A complete scam artist. Sloppy work. Plagiarized elements. It was a deliberate, malicious attempt to destroy my livelihood. My blood ran cold, then hot with anger. I spent the next 2 hours documenting everything, screenshotting the reviews and noting the identical creation dates of the profiles. I contacted the platform's support, providing evidence of the breakup and showing that these clients had no record of ever commissioning or paying for work. They think this is a game of emotional terrorism. They brought a tantrum to a structural engineering exam. Update 2. The move-out deadline is less than a week away, and the siege has intensified. The freelance platform, thankfully, investigated my claim and removed the fraudulent reviews within a week, confirming they originated from a single IP address. A clean victory. Clara's camp just changed tactics. Her mother Diana called next, her voice dripping with faux concern. "Leo, darling. Clara tells me there's been a terrible misunderstanding. She has a good heart, she just made a little mistake. You're destroying her life over a single night." "The little mistake was showing me I was disposable in my own home," I replied. "What Clara does now is up to her. This conversation is over." She called me cruel and heartless before hanging up. I blocked her number. Then Marcus, the conquering hero, sent me a message request on Instagram. "Hey man, we need to talk. Clara is a mess because of what you did. You better make this right. Give her the apartment or give her money to get a new place." His follow-up was more direct. "I know people. You don't want to make this ugly." A vague threat. I screenshotted everything, sent it to my lawyer friend Tom for his records, and blocked Marcus. I knew the final day would be the main event. I suspected Clara would try to squat, forcing a lengthy eviction. I had to outplan her. The revenge wasn't just about getting her out. It was about making the consequences as calculated and unavoidable as gravity. I hired a bonded moving company that specialized in eviction cleanouts. I paid Tom a consulting fee to be present as a legal observer. I coordinated with Mr. Henderson, the landlord, to meet us at noon on the final day for the key handover. The most crucial part was the digital decoupling. For 2 years, I had been paying for a premium cloud storage service under my name and my card. Clara used it for everything. Thousands of photos, her social media content, and her entire portfolio for her part-time job. She had no local backups. I spent a week downloading a complete copy onto an external hard drive, not for her, but for my own legal protection. On the final day of the lease, I met my team in the parking lot. I knocked on the apartment door. "Clara, it's Leo. I'm here with the landlord for the final walkthrough." "I'm not leaving," she yelled from inside. "This is my home. You'll have to evict me." Mr. Henderson sighed and used his master key. "She is trespassing," he stated. We walked in. She was sitting on the couch with her arms crossed, Marcus standing behind her like a low-rent bodyguard. "You can't just barge in here," she yelled. Tom stepped forward. "Ma'am, Mr. Sterling's tenancy has ended. You are on this property without legal authority. We are asking you to leave." "I'm not going anywhere," she spat. I nodded to the moving crew. "Please begin. Anything that is not mine, please box it up and place it on the curb." The two movers began methodically clearing the room with unnerving efficiency. Clara and Marcus stood there, stunned. They expected a screaming match. They got a process. Then Clara's eyes landed on the empty shelf where the Nexus used to be. "Where is it?" she shrieked. "Where is my sculpture? You stole it. I'll call the cops." This was the moment I'd prepared for. I pulled a folder from my briefcase. "You mean this sculpture?" I said, handing her a packet of papers. "The one I commissioned? Here is the design email, the receipt for the $3,000 payment from my bank account, and the artist's certificate of authenticity made out to me." She stared at the papers, her face pale. Her narrative had just been demolished with documented proof. Within an hour, all of her worldly possessions were in a neat pile on the grass outside. As I was about to walk out for the last time, I turned to her and pulled out my phone. I opened the cloud service app and navigated to the account settings. I looked her right in the eyes. "You should have made backups." I hit the button, cancel subscription, and delete all data. A confirmation box popped up. "This action is permanent and all data will be erased immediately." I pressed confirm. Her eyes widened in horror. What did you do?" "You wanted space," I said, my voice cold. "I'm giving it to you. All 2 terabytes of it." An automated email was already on its way to her account, confirming her data had been permanently deleted. I walked out of the empty apartment to the sound of her hysterical scream, muffled by the closing door. It was the sound of consequences, delivered on schedule. Final update. The emotional debris from Clara's detonation of my life has finally settled. The aftermath, I heard through a mutual acquaintance, was chaotic for her. Her meltdown on the curb was legendary. The police came, saw the lease agreement with my name on it and the termination notice, and informed her it was a civil matter and that she was trespassing. They waited while she and a reluctant Marcus moved her things into a hastily rented U-Haul. The loss of her digital life was catastrophic. Her portfolio was gone, her entire online persona erased. The boutiques she worked for dropped her when she couldn't produce any of her previous work. The digital footprint of her career was gone. It wasn't illegal. The account was mine. Marcus predictably vanished. Faced with a distraught, jobless, and homeless Clara, he bailed once the drama outweighed the thrill. He stopped answering her calls within days. Defeated and broke, Clara had no choice but to drive her U-Haul of shame to her parents' doorstep, a 30-year-old woman forced back into her childhood bedroom because she thought disrespect was a viable strategy. A month later, a blustering letter from a budget lawyer arrived, demanding $5,000 for wrongful eviction and the stolen shared art piece. I passed it to my lawyer friend, Tom. He drafted a response that was a work of art. It included copies of the lease, the notice to vacate, an affidavit from the landlord, and the complete documentation proving my sole ownership of the Nexus. It ended by stating that any further contact would be considered harassment and would result in us seeking a restraining order and suing for legal fees. We never heard back. The first month in my new, smaller apartment was strange. I mourned the 3 years I had invested in a project with a rotten foundation, but slowly, I rebuilt. My freelance business is thriving. Without the constant financial and emotional drain, I could focus. I took on bigger projects and reconnected with old friends. The peace is the best part. The quiet confidence that my home is mine. My revenge wasn't loud. It was quiet and architectural. I didn't destroy her life. I simply stepped out of it and stopped holding it up. I let her face the logical, structural consequences of her own choices. She took my support for granted, assuming it was a permanent fixture. She learned that I was the foundation, and when the foundation is removed, the entire structure collapses. Last week, I bought a new piece of art for my apartment. It's a simple, elegant piece of woodwork, a single, solid line that curves upwards. It's called a cent. It feels right. I'm building something new, and this time, the blueprints are all mine.